Okay, so I'm going to talk about the power of the presidential office. So, when we typically think of the power that a president holds, we think of the military, right? I mean, the president is the commander in chief after all. Or we think of the power to pass executive orders, stuff like that, right? What we don't think of is the power of the presidential stage. And what do I mean by that? Well, basically, the president, when a president wants to address the nation, he's not just going to address the nation. The president's speaking to the whole world when this president speaks. If there's a camera on the president and it's being broadcasted, people are going to listen. And you might argue that people don't listen to the presidential addresses that we have nowadays, but I would argue that's because our presidents as of recently are not really saying anything profound. They're not saying anything that the working class is even interested in hearing. So, why is that? Well, it seems to me that we elect Trump. He's just an inflammatory asshole. We elect Biden. He's just a dementia patient. And the end result is that our presidents basically don't represent our interests. All right, our presidents go on CNN and Fox News, and they're on there for 5 minutes, and then the advertisements come on, and in effect, our presidents are advertising for mainstream media corporations and for the corporations that advertise on those mainstream media news networks. So our presidents are just working for corporations, right? We know this. This has been obvious for decades. So the point here is that our presidents are not using the power that lies in the presidential stage in such a way that benefits the middle class. So I propose two things. First, I propose that every president from here on out addresses the nation daily and every single day. Okay, I don't care if they have to do it from a golf course. I don't care if they have to do it on Sundays after church. I don't give a shit. We need a president who is going to address the nation, and not just we don't want a president who's just talking at the nation. We want a president who's talking to the nation. We want randomized callers to call in and speak to the president and talk about issues in the country. And we could alternate Democrats and Republican callers with independents. We could alternate all of these different groups of people. We could randomize through different states, different types of populations. The bottom line is that the president is supposed to be somebody who represents the public. They're supposed to represent the public's interests, and yet you never see or rarely see the president talk to the public. And if they are, it's for a PR stunt. We need a president who is going to talk to the public every single day. And what will happen is the people that listen, all the people that tune in and listen to these conversations, they will start to see each other for their similarities across these political divides, across these social divides, rather than the differences that are highlighted in the mainstream media, that same mainstream media where the current presidents like to talk. Okay, there is never a time where a president should be on a network where there are advertisements. That president works for us. It works for the population, and they should never be advertising for a mainstream media corporation or for a large corporation ever. And it should disgust you when you see that. It should disgust you down to your soul. Okay? So one more proposition. Again, we already covered that the president is supposed to represent the public's interest, right? We need to elect a president who starts a national strike, who leads a national strike. Okay? And what that would do is it would bypass all of the legislation that we need to get things done. Okay, it would bypass Congress. It would bypass all of the corporate interests instantaneously. Okay, and what do I mean by that? Well, the president goes on some news network and he talks about Congress and how they're gridlocking him, right? Or him or her or whatever. The president can't get Medicare for all passed, so why should he even try? Why should they try to pass Medicare for all if the Congress, if the Senate and the House of Representatives would never pass such a bill? Instead, the president should just lead a national strike. And in effect, the job of the president is to raise class consciousness. The job of the president is to bring the middle and lower class, the working class, together. And if they're not doing that, then you've elected the wrong guy. Okay? And it's hard to accept this when we are forced to choose between the worst, the lesser of two evils, right? But we're not forced to choose between the lesser of two evils. We just create that perception in our heads. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you tell yourself that you can't vote for a third party because you're so fearful of handing the election over to who you perceive as the greater of two evils, then what are you going to get? You're going to get more of the same. We're going to keep electing corrupt presidents, corrupt politicians who don't represent our interests. So again, we have these these strikes going on. We have United Auto Workers striking. We have UPS, right? We've had these successful strikes. But what happens after these companies strike? What happens after United Auto Workers creates a strike and their wages double? Well, what's going to happen is these corporations are going to raise the prices of their goods and services, and they're going to pass that wage expense on to consumers. This is what happens when you don't create a national strike. This is what happens, and in effect, the only people whose wages are going to go up are the people who work for those, the United Auto Workers, right? The people whose wages increased. And all the other people whose wages are still stagnating, they're going to now have to pay for those higher prices to pay for the wages of the United Auto Workers. So, in a capitalistic market, in a capitalistic economy, the only way to fix this problem, this inflation problem that's going to occur, is a national strike. And in my mind, who better to organize a national strike than the President of the United States? If you're listening, Marianne Williamson, RFK, and Cornel West, take a little note. Okay, here. Organize a national strike. Run on the fact that you're going to start a national strike. That is the path forward for this country. We need radical solutions that are peaceful. We need radical economic peaceful solutions. We can't keep ignoring the need for economic reform. Otherwise, we're just going to find ourselves in a revolution, okay? It's not going to work. So, again, we need a president who's going to talk to the middle class, to the lower class, to the working class, and we need a president who's going to represent them. If they are not talking to the working class, they are not representing the working class. And if they are trying to, worse yet, to destroy these strikes that we're seeing, like Biden has destroyed the railroad strike, if our presidents are going to beat these strikes down, they're not working for you. We need presidents who are going to work for the middle class, and that starts with them talking to us, and it ends with them organizing a national strike. Thanks for watching.